Good morning, Nathan. Thank you for joining us for our Lean Learning special. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you today?
Great, thanks. So shall we begin the interview?
Yes, please. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sure. So my role at Tenable, I am the Chief Security Strategist for North America and APAC, which is essentially I serve as an advisory CISO for our customers and for people out, in conferences and events and education institutions to help teach people about good security practices and offer some advice to organizations worldwide about how to mature those programs and do it better. Boy, every day for me, because of the variety of tasks and meetings that I get involved in, every day has to start with a bit of a planning session for myself. Really need to look at what I'm about to do during the day, who I'm meeting with, what kind of audiences I'll be talking to, and I build essentially a plan of attack for how much time I'm going to invest, what resources I need to pull together. But having that structure first thing before I jump into my meetings is really, really critical to make sure that we're delivering the right thing at the right time for folks. Well, at its simplest, digital transformation is any effort to modernize technology infrastructure to provide more business value, greater efficiency, and ideally, better security controls for any kind of technology environment. I want to make it clear, though, it doesn't necessarily mean the most modern technology. I think a lot of organizations get stuck thinking that they've got to do the biggest and best things, but really digital transformation is about any progress someone can make towards moving past legacy technologies, using anything that's newer that makes their organization more efficient, makes the business run better, just generates a benefit to the whole organization. Well, I think for me, the biggest one that I've helped implement for a number of companies is a better communication strategy around risk. It doesn't seem like much from a technology standpoint, but when we see business leaders, I should say, and technologists talking about risk differently, it's really hard to make good decisions about how to mitigate it, how to invest good resources into it, how to budget. And so building a really strong and aligned communication plan around how we talk about risk, how we identify risk, is a really, really important piece of the security program. And that has made some huge impacts in organizations I've worked with to better prioritize their efforts in that way. I think what's impacted us most, quite frankly, is the realization that it's not just ransomware that's the problem out there. It's been such a big topic for the last couple of years, but there's a lot of other ways that cyber criminals and attackers can compromise our technology. And I'm seeing more and more that organizations are starting to broaden their approach. They're starting to become more focused in other areas outside of ransomware. And that's a big benefit in a lot of ways, but it's creating a huge impact in workload and sort of the strategy behind how we're approaching security and technology implementations. One of my very first mentors said to me, when you break it all down, everything we do is made up of bits. And bits are bits. If you can reach them, you can do anything you want with them. And what he meant by that was that everything we run on software, the hardware, everything we do ultimately has some kind of software there, and it's all just code. You can get to that point, you can compromise anything that you can reach. So it was a really important lesson for me that security and what we do here is not a zero-sum game. It's not about reaching 100%. It's about making smart risk decisions and doing the best we can to mitigate the damage where it makes sense, to protect our organizations the best we can, but understanding that it's kind of a constant fight that we're always going to be up against. For me, it's about having a really strong plan. It's the old adage of measure twice, cut once. We've heard that in a number of industries, but it applies to security and technology infrastructure as well. A lot of organizations don't have a plan. They buy technology and they run with it. But if you want to have resiliency, if you want to have something that supports your business that really can drive value for a long period of time, it's important that security programs and technology leaders sit down with the business, get the right stakeholders involved, and build a plan so that you know what you're trying to protect, you know what the business needs to operate, and you can then execute your security infrastructure, your technology infrastructure in a way that will last and support that business for the long term. Well, for me, it's how fast we can scale resources at a push of a button. I mean, I come from a kind of an old school technology background, if you will. So deploying servers and workstations was always a lot of work and very manual process. And today, to be able to spin up thousands or tens of thousands of endpoints nearly instantly is honestly one of my favorite things. And granted, I'm glossing over the security implications, the resource costs and all of that. But the fact that we have that capability today within the cloud, it really opens up a lot of amazing doors for technologists like myself to do things we didn't know we could do 20, 25 years ago. In a way, I think the biggest challenge is much what I just described to some extent, which is that organizations don't really understand what they're trying to accomplish from a business perspective, and they kind of chase the bright, shiny thing to go digital first without a plan. And so it becomes a very inefficient, sometimes very costly effort to go digital first because they're just implementing it for the sake of implementing it. It's not necessarily right for the business. They don't have a good strategy. So I think, again, the lack of planning is the biggest challenge, where instead of getting involved in technology and then adjusting your business to it, we need to build the business strategy and make sure that we're building a digital first strategy that supports it best. So CIOs are my favorite partners. As a former CISO myself, and again in my role now as an advisory CISO, I do spend a lot of time with the technology side of the organization. And I think the most important thing that CIOs need to understand about security is this. Your security function within the org is not actually an IT function. It's a risk management function. Security is more closely aligned to finance and legal than it is, honestly, than technology. We have to be very good at technology because that's what we're trying to protect. But the functionality is very much more of that risk management kind of focus. So as a CIO, focus on your technology, but know that you have these incredible partners that understand risk mitigation strategies, regulatory issues, legal considerations, financial loss, all of these kinds of things that can impact the business may not necessarily be your system administrator's area of expertise, but your CISOs, your security folks, they're there for that. And that is really what they're there to do.
Thank you, Nathan, for joining us today. It was a pleasure talking to you.